I'd like to start today's live stream with this is for women who actually want to wield their power. You don't want to be told what to do. You don't want me to tell you what to do. You don't want to be told. You want to actually uncover it within yourself so it can never be taken from you. You can never be feared out of it. It can never be bought. That's what this is for, today's live stream. Every live stream is, but I felt compelled to say that today. I'm also live streaming on YouTube. I'm also live streaming on TikTok. And so the reason why I have it in the description that this is for metaphysical teachers is because this is for women who they think very different than normal everyday people. And you've done a lot of the things that regular people do to manifest, right? All the things that other people do that is enough for them. They like it, right? Crystals and tarot card reading and all that. All those things are really great for the people who love them and who adore them and use them. And over here, Naima Singletary. For those of you who are new here, my name is Naima. I'm the founder of the Academy for Womanhood, where we help women grow up and become unapologetic women who design their lives on true desires terms. Over here, we deal in the power that most women don't want because of the responsibility. So most women do not want their full power. They don't want the responsibility of power. They don't want the confrontation of real power. They don't want clear, clean, unapologetic power. Most women and men do not want that. However, for the women who do not only want that, but require that, and who can't even manifest what they most want without embodying that power, that's who my company is here for. That's who I'm here for. That's what today's live stream is here for. So, with that in mind, today's topic of being overweight, hungry for a hot body, and monetizing your knowledge. I'm not telling you how. I'm directing you back to the power that's in you that has the answers for how. So if you already don't like how that sounds, that's a really good indicator that this is not for you. Okay? So first of all, let's talk about the energetics of being overweight, fat. That's the language that you use. Let's talk about the energetics of being overweight. You've done all the right things. You've changed your food. You've reduced your calorie intake. You're doing the things that is supposed to work for you to lose weight. And you have this real, almost like, I want a hot fucking body. Like your shit is deep. Like I wanna make a nigga come in his pants when he see me. Like it's just dripping off of you. It's like that, real deep. And there's a part of you that's so hungry to teach, to serve. And what I didn't put here on the screen is that you want to travel beautifully. You have beautiful places where you want to travel. So you see everything that I just said and like how much energy there is in everything that I just said? Going from being overweight, which by the way, having a lot of weight on your body is a lot of energy. It's just compressed energy that's repressed, compressed, and not being used, right? So it's all that energy of being overweight because fat on the body is weight, okay? So there's all that energy of being overweight just there, right? Then there's the part of you that's like, I want a hot body, like deep down, and it might not even be that deep for you, right? Like the more repressed a woman is, the deeper down it is. But the more she starts to wake that thing up, it's just sitting right here. She's just like, and she's just ready to be hot, and she's ready to be seen, and she's ready to command her room, and she's ready to feel good, and she's ready to wear sexy dresses, and she's ready to hold attention, command attention, versus what so many who are overweight, they don't want attention because they don't know how to hold it. They're scared of what's going to happen when people look at them for too long. The judgment, the name calling, the high sensation, the judgment. So good to see you. Yes, I'm hot. I came Friday because I wanted to see you in a dress, but you weren't here. I'm on live stream, but I just want you to know that. Huh? Please, sure. I love it. Thank you so much. This the lady who sort of manages the office space here. But so I don't want to be seen. What is that going to mean? Oh my God, right? So you want to command, right, all that energy and attention, right? Then we come over to you actually teaching and helping as a visibility game. So that's a whole other, right? You being online like this, live streaming, teaching, right? You selling your products and services, people DMing you, you being able to handle the people coming into your inbox asking questions, people desiring you, people looking at you as an authority, as someone to help them and teach them, people also looking at you with disdain and judgment and I don't like you. All of this is energy. Every single one of these that I just described is an energy, okay? And then you feeling free in your body and in admission of your desire, that you call in and create all the resources you need to travel to Monaco, to travel somewhere else in France, Europe, Greece, Korea, Bali, wherever it is that you want to travel. All of that is an energy game. Can you feel that? Can you see that? Can you feel that? What I just described? All that energy? Hi, Yvette. TikTok is quiet. It's now not a good time for me to be on TikTok. Should I go? Because that's fine too. About to take off for what? Is that my lady who's on her way to Cuba? So our AC, so a couple things before I go on. The AC in the building, it was the holiday, so apparently they didn't get it going back to warm up, cool off the whole building, so it's really hot, so she's gonna be bringing a fan. And also I went to go get my underarms waxed before I came in today, but they couldn't see me until 4, so I have an appointment, but I also need to be waxed, so you might see that during my time here today. Yeah, so there's that. So this, there's one person who said, I'm listening. So I would like to hear from who else wants to hear this. Otherwise, this is an indicator that now is not the time for me to be on TikTok. Baby, it's hot. I think it's gonna be triple digits today. Hey, Karen. Karen said, why am I so afraid to expand my perimeter? It's a great question. It's frustrating. It's so good. Why am I afraid to expand my perimeter? That is so fitting. So fitting. So, Before I go on, I want to remind you what I'm going to share is not a how to, it's to bring you to you actually having the power. Okay. One, the power that you have as a woman, never mind your race, where you're from, your religious upbringing, just being a woman. And let me even clarify that even more. Most female beings are not women yet. There's so much initiation to become a woman. Okay. Now, you all are aware of the Roman Catholic Church. You may or may not be aware of the Malleus Maleficorum. And I don't know how much knowledge you have around the history of the, like real history of the suppression of women. Okay. And so to give a small historical framework, the Malleus Maleficorum, which you can go to Amazon right now to go look up. Perhaps you've heard of the book Women Who Run with the Wolves, okay? So 2 German monks, along with the Roman Catholic Church, created the woman version of the Willie Lynch letter. Who here is familiar with the Willie Lynch letter? Or how about who here is not familiar with the Willie Lynch letter? Who here is not familiar with the Willie Lynch letter? So there's debate about if it's real or not. And this is not about if it's real or not. It's about the energy of it. So the Willie Lynch letter, which you can Google and find right now, essentially it was a letter from European men, Willie Lynch, or European man, in a meeting that he ordered centuries ago for American slave owners during chattel slavery, and an educational pattern on how to train, divide, program, and kill enslaved people at the time. Okay, that's what the Willie Lynch letter is. And for people who have studied the Willie Lynch letter, there are correlations between what was done to program, enslave, train enslaved folks during chattel slavery. Okay, so whether or not it's true doesn't matter. It's about what we were able to, or at least what history tells us about what chattel slavery looked like and felt like at the time. Thank you so much, Hattie. Oh, that feels so good. Thank you. Straight. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Patty just brought a fan in here. That feels so good. Normally it's super cool in here with the AC, but it's getting itself built up. Okay. And so it was a whole, like I said, you can go to Google right now and Google Willie Lynch letter to read about what Willie Lynch taught American slave owners about how to program, kill, divide, train, instill fear into enslaved people at the time. The Malleus Maleficorum is the woman version of the Willie Lynch letter. The Malleus Maleficorum was created by 2 German monks, and in relationship with the Roman Catholic Church became law for how to hunt, divide, kill, program, and instill fear into women between the late 13th century up until about the end of the 17th century, give or take. The history books have different dates of start and finish, but somewhere around 1300s into around the 1700s, the Malleus Maleficorum was Bible for how to hunt, program, kill, fear, instill fear, and train women and their children. okay? Women who were powerful, women who were teachers in the community, women who were herbalists, women who were into astrology, women who were into nature, women who were doulas, women who were seers, women who were knowledgeable about the woman's body. The Malleus Maleficorum was the Bible on how to hunt, kill, program, instill fear, and train these women and their children. Things like if she grows herbs, hang her in front of her daughter. So all the women and her daughters know not to ever think that they can be an herbalist. If she's a doula or she's trying to teach women about being a doula or helping with childbirth, punish her, give her warnings, do it in front of other people so they know not to do it too. You can go to Amazon right now and look up the Malleus Maleficorum to see translations of it, because the Malleus Maleficorum was not originally written in English, okay? So I think it was Latin it was originally written in, and then it's been translated over time the same way the Bible has in many ways, because it was a kind of Bible. It was law, literally law, okay? So it was legal to kill a woman who was an herbalist. It was law, religious law, okay? And so this went on for centuries. Now, that's just a few centuries right there. Oh, just a few centuries, but that's centuries of training women to be afraid of being actual women, versus the women who were praised and not killed were the women who stayed quiet, the women who played small, the women who didn't know anything, because the man is the one who knows. The women who there's no intuition. You are right. If you thought you even had intuition or talked about intuition as a woman, hang her, kill her, rape her in front of people, okay? Like, this is well documented. It's called the Malleus Maleficorum. Malleus is spelled Malleus. Maleficorum is spelled M-A, I think L-L-E-F. But even if you spell it wrong, it's going to come up. Just type Malleus Maleficorum on Google and you'll get the correct spelling. I'm giving you this historical background to answer the question that Karen asked about, why am I afraid to expand my perimeter? This is to answer the question that a lot of women have quietly, and as she has said out loud, why am I afraid to expand my perimeter? Another way of saying that is, why am I afraid to take up space in the world? Why am I afraid to be seen, be visible? I'm sexy. Why am I afraid to be sexy? Why am I afraid to wear these dresses? Why am I afraid to say what I actually mean? Why am I afraid to be honest? Why do I constantly feel like I need to lie? Why do I constantly default into this little girl, or whenever men come around? Why am I afraid to take up space in the world? Why am I afraid to start my business? Why am I afraid to create the content and say what I really want to say? Why am I afraid to walk the way I would walk if I wasn't afraid of judgment of other people's eyes? Why am I afraid to be in relationship with other powerful women? Why am I afraid to express myself in the bedroom? Why am I afraid to ask for what I want in the bedroom? Why am I afraid to have confrontational conversations that would free me? Why am I afraid to be the woman I actually am in front of my mother? Why am I afraid to put up boundaries with my boyfriend? Why do I constantly overgive? Why do I constantly deplete myself? Why am I constantly in a pattern of burning myself out and not getting my needs met? Why am I afraid to take up space? Why were the women before us afraid to take up space? Why was your grandmother saying we didn't even think about that when we were your age? Why did your great-great-grandmother feel miserable and need to stay in the marriage? Why are we playing so small? Why? Yes or no? This is some of the historical background for you to understand why you're afraid to take up space. Is this making sense? Why does my voice change all of a sudden when I feel like, why am I? Why? Because if you expanded your perimeter once upon a time, you would have been hung. That's why you're afraid to expand your perimeter. Your memory knows it. Your ancestral memory knows it. As an enslaved woman, even being attractive could be grounds for being raped in front of your husband. You cover your hair. You're talking about a crown? Your crown? No, you cover your hair. You are not here to be attractive. You are here to be labor. Joy, abundance, freedom, play. For enslaved African Americans, once upon a time, that was an absolute no. That was grounds for having your children taken from you. This is why you're afraid to expand your perimeter. Because shining equaled losing freedom. Because being bigger, being smart, being honest meant punishment, beat, losing food, being worked overtime. This is why you're afraid to expand your perimeter. It's not just what we see going on today, where Black women are killed every 5 seconds by a Black man. It's not just that. It's also ancestral memory. This is why you're afraid to expand your perimeter. This is why you so easily play the submission game with the man. And he thinks that's just natural order. You're a good woman. Look at you. You're going to be a good mother. You're going to cook and clean because you're a submissive wife. You're a good woman, see? Modest, traditional. You're a good woman. No, you're doing that from fear. You're doing that from ancestral memory. You're doing that because you're afraid to expand your perimeter. You're afraid to be seen. You're afraid of being attacked on the internet. You're afraid of being called names on the internet. You're afraid of the responsibility of being in full power. That's why you agreed to the submission game. That's why you play small. That's why you come online and you smile and you be nice because you feel like that won't get you any negative smoke on the internet. It's not real. This is why you're afraid to expand your perimeter. This is why you're afraid to take up space. Have I set the foundation now? Can we continue? Does this make sense? Respond, people. I see you here. Is this making sense? Have I set the foundation? Is this tracking? Thank you for sharing the live, Soft Life. Thank you for following, Jacqueline. And is it Laza's World? All right, good, very good. So for those of you who are teachers, you are healers, you are any kind of woman, because remember the foundation I just laid, any woman who dared to actually be a woman, her life was on the line. You were risking your life. For anybody who saw the movie Harriet, where Harriet Tubman was like, give me liberty or give me death. Like that's the level of play that you had to live at once upon a time. I'm either going to risk my life and be free, or I'm going to die. It was very black and white like that, which is why I say repeatedly that women need to reconcile their fear of death. And I know that's aggressive language. I know that's strong. I know that feels almost like it could trigger resentment because you're like, why should I have to go through all that? Why is it so hard? Why, you know what I mean? Well, apparently you wanted to be alive today in 2024, to be able to traverse this plane that we're living on right now, to come to who you actually are, to create your version of heaven. So that's what we're living in today, where you as a woman, men too, are required to do this. But today I'm talking specifically to women who are sincere about becoming all the ways that you come into your womanhood, becoming a doula, being a healer, being a teacher, being an oracle, being seen online, expanding your perimeter, taking up space, being a teacher for young girls, being a teacher for other women, being a model, being an example. All of that made you, put you on grounds for being killed once upon a time. And your cellular memory knows that. So when you think you're gonna will yourself into something, I'm gonna do it. I'm about to do it. I got this. And you try to use your will, and I'm confident, and try to hype yourself up on motivational videos or hype yourself up on a podcast or yes. For those of you who know this experience, you don't get very far for long, do you? Why? Because your cellular memory demands that you go into your unconscious mind. It demands that you go into your unconscious mind and deal with it for real. And your body is a physical representation of your unconscious mind. It demands that you come home to your body and descend into your body as a woman, where all the memories are, where all the tension is, where all the hyper vigilance you have around being seen and being perceived, and the way you know how to throw on that smile, all that. Y'all know what I'm talking about? The subtleties, the direct. So I would really like to work with those of you. Again, this is not child's play. I know a lot of people who watch me on TikTok are little girls who want to stay little girls, and that's part of the territory. I get that. But for those of you who are sincere, those of you who are ready to be women, those of you who are ready to reconcile all of the shame, the fears, the patterns that you've been living in for a long time, the starting and stopping stuff, all the stuff, okay, that I constantly talk about online, the starting and stopping, the patterns of playing small, the constantly hiding, the distracting yourself with this and this and that, overeating because you want to push the power down and you want to get rid of the sensation, but it never goes away, and you get older and older and older. And another reason why I put for metaphysical teachers is to call forth those of us who are very different in that way, where it's a different kind of torture for us to keep ourselves small. And so wanted to emphasize who this is acutely for. So what I'd like to do is a few things. Invite you into shadow gold. Who here is familiar with shadow gold? If you are unfamiliar with shadow gold, first of all, I invite you to go to the link in my bio, click it. There are 6 options there. And the second to the last one is shadow gold, okay? And what I'd like to do is I'd like to have a conversation with those of you who would, first of all, really like to develop this hot body by way of your unconscious mind. Okay, so this is not a fitness program. It's none of that. It's actually coming into the power that would have you engage in the work so that you stop doing the things that keep you overweight. Because no amount of cutting your calories and working out is going to do it for you for real. Even if you do lose 20 pounds, very quickly you're going to lose it back because you haven't dealt with the unconscious part of you that's in the pattern anyway. Okay? If you're on YouTube, if you go to the description, the link to Shadow Gold is there. So what I'm doing is for women who sign up for Shadow Gold by Friday. I'm doing this for 5 women who sign up for Shadow Gold. Thank you for all those gifts. Who sign up for Shadow Gold by Friday. I'm going to mentor you for 6 months around coming into the power in your body, your sex power, the power that has you overeating, that has you with a big back, that has you wanting to be expanding your perimeter and taking up space, not only with your body, but with the energy of you, but you're afraid of being seen, judged, harmed, even attacked and killed for some women. And for those of you, I'm going to quickly reiterate what I said last week when I went live. And this is, it's part of why there's certain things I just don't say online because sometimes it can be too much, but it felt like it was time to say it, is that for many of us in our unconscious mind, we are afraid of male violence when we stand in our sexual power. We are very afraid of male violence. Anybody here afraid of male violence genuinely? Okay. And because of that, we think that if we show up big in the world, we think if we walk around in clean power, I'm not talking about this performative, well, it's definitely not everyone indigo goddess, but I think you mean a large number of women, okay? I don't mean, this sort of real sloppy, insecure kind of power that you see a lot of women yielding on the internet. No, I mean clean power that can't be faked, that you only come into when you really come home to the part of you that actually wants to be raped. You want to be possessed by a man. You want to be weakened. You actually want to be awakened up to your power. Everything in you that actually likes scarcity, likes ugly, likes pain, likes hell. Everything in you that you repress and your conscious mind is like, I know I'm a divine goddess queen and I'm meant for abundance and to travel and to manifest and be on, the planet Earth and to teach women about self-love and self-care, and I deserve to be treated like a queen, and I'm a goddess. A lot of y'all in your conscious mind, you do think that, right? You love that content. You love watching videos about soft life and being provided for and loved. And yeah, at a conscious level. And what does your pattern in your life tell you what you really think? What are your guilty pleasures? What are you drawn to that nobody knows that you're drawn to? The things that you don't even yet know would totally possess you if they came into your circumference because they live in your unconscious mind. All of that is what makes you scared to take up space. Did that land? Did you catch? Did you see that? Do you feel that? I can't take up space because you're worried about narcissistic men because there's a version of you that's narcissistic that you don't want to be touched because you want to exist as what? Good woman? No, because I'm kind, I'm considerate. Why are you so concerned about narcissistic men? This is what I mean. On an unconscious level, we're afraid. Now, let me be clear. Naima, a lot of people don't really know what the unconscious mind is. Not really. Please explain it. Your unconscious mind is completely hidden from you, meaning you're not even aware of what's in there. Meaning if you could say it to me out of your mouth, if you can think it, that means it's your conscious mind. You only know your unconscious mind based on the patterns that you live. So for example, I'll use myself for an example. For a while, I was constantly in the feast or famine, up and down with money, up and down, up and down. And the whole time that I was in this up and down with money, I'd be like, gosh, I want to make more money. Why can't I make more money? I'm working so hard. Why? Gosh. And then when I was forced, because I started praying, and a lot of us think that when we pray that we're going to get I'm praying for more money, so I'm waiting for God to send me more money. I need patience. I've been praying to God to be patient. No, what you're going to get is you're going to get opportunities to practice patience. What you're going to get is opportunities to create money. But before you can even get there, you got to even see right? The opportunity could be right there, but you don't see it. So when I was forced, dark night of the soul, which is you being dragged into seeing your life and what's right there in front of you that you've been running from, I saw that I actually, and it was in my unconscious mind, I liked being broke. I loved the adrenaline rush of going broke, then needing the money to pay the bills, then going to get the money to pay the bills, and then paying the bill right at the deadline. I loved the adrenaline rush, but it was in my unconscious mind. Remember, right now, you have no idea what's in your unconscious mind aside from looking at what patterns do you live out. If you constantly call in narcissistic men, it's because you like narcissistic men. If you constantly call in bitches who want to petty, who want to take you down, it's because you like bitches who are petty, who like to take you down. If you constantly call in anything, it's because you like it, but you like it at a shadow level. You have yet to admit that you like it, so it continues to control you from the dark. That's how the unconscious mind works. And if you're just now hearing this, this is what Dame Dash said when he said Black people are behind. That by the time the knowledge gets to us, it's late, it's old. This, what I'm telling you right now, is old knowledge. Who is hearing this for the first time? Who is aware of this? Who's hearing this for the first time? What I just explained about how the shadow and the unconscious mind works. By the way, shadow and unconscious mind means the same thing. It's the same thing using different words. It's the same thing. You can use them interchangeably. Shadow means unconscious mind. It's the same thing. Some people will say shadow, some people will say unconscious mind. If you keep creating it, that is what you want. And that's a really hard thing for a lot of people to accept when they constantly are telling themselves, no, I don't want this. Or if they feel shame about actually liking the thing that they keep attracting. Very few people would admit that they like being broke, that they like their pussies being taken by way of rape, that they like male aggression and having their body taken and slammed down and fucked hard. Some women will admit that, but there are women who feel shame about liking that, so they act like they don't like it and then punish a man who asserts that kind of action. This is what I mean by, for some of you, not all of you, for some of you who are like, why am I afraid to expand my perimeter? And you point to these reasons why you think you're afraid to expand your perimeter. There's actually something in you, like if you're like narcissistic men, I'm afraid to expand my perimeter because narcissistic men are going to prey on my power. There's actually a part of you that is narcissistic and you're afraid to own that. And you don't want to be found out. You like being in the shadow part. You haven't admitted this, but you like the shadow unconscious part of being narcissistic, because then it takes you off the hook of the responsibility. And instead, you can play victim, like, see, you narcissistic men, that's why we decentering men. That's why we for being, because you niggas did it, when quietly, you actually are like them. At an unconscious level, you're actually like them. So that's one angle of why some of you are afraid to expand your perimeter. Because you're actually the very thing that you're scared of, and you're scared of being found out. For others of you, it really is that you are a bright light. And not even saying that the other woman isn't a bright light, it's just the angle at which she's coming from. Some of you really are a bright light, and you started getting shut down as a kid. Okay. How many of you here, you remember your mom, dad, telling you you're doing too much, calm down, your joy. was too much for people. You had a big appetite for life, and people told you, you don't need all that. You're doing too much. Girl, you wanted the big house. They're like, girl, you don't need all that. You wanted the 5-star hotel. You don't need all that. Yeah. You were sexually alive at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You fast. You got your little hoe around here? With you a little hoe? Okay, so then there's that. And then so many of us have repressed the part of us that is very alive. Oh my God. Let me spend a little bit of time here. The way you would love if you weren't afraid of how people would mistrust your love and judge it and try to distort it. Because as much as people love to talk about love and light and heaven and God and oh God, do you know how blinding true love actually is? Do you know how it's to most people it's almost inconceivable. Wait a minute. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? How many of you here, like this is your real experience? I don't want to hear from you if this is not your real experience. How many of you here, even today, or when you were younger, just remember you just wanted to hug people for no reason? You wanted to help everybody. You were too idealistic. You saw the good in everything, even in bad people. You were like, right? You could see how, him or her, why they were like that. And they just needed to be loved. You actually thought love and light was really all it took. You would help people, you would give of yourself, and you were genuinely not looking for anything in return. You weren't doing it as like to look nice. You weren't doing it out of obligation. You weren't doing it so you can, as some kind of play. You really just wanted to help. You really just wanted to be giving and loving and kind. And like this was really you. And you were, oh my God, when I just think about particularly who I was in my 20s before I was aware of the ugly that could come up out of a human being. Like how women will be like, before you know that you need to put up boundaries with men. Remember before you started putting up boundaries with men? Because you just, you didn't even know like people could do these things. You don't think, because you don't think like that. And then it's not until somebody do something, they just, whoo, right? And you're like, I'm speaking for myself, right? I just remember being so like willing and just like seeing the positive in everything and wanting to play and love without with no, the word is indiscriminately. It wasn't like, like there was no discrimination in it. I'm loving, I'm playing, I'm caring about. And then people don't trust it. It's like, and it took me a while to get that. It took me a while to realize what this is going on around here. What you on? What do you mean? What? Huh? What? And what it would be like, what it is like. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it is not easy at all. And it's possible. And it's worth it to allow yourself to get out here, to really get in the ring of life, as Brene Brown describes it. Really come out here. Really get out here. Really get into the full contact of life. Get out here. Expand your circumference. Reach out to him. Reach out to her. From true, clean go. the way you did when you were 15, 17, 23. Just go. Let yourself get hit. Do it all consciously. Because people are going to put up the, let them. Let them. And let yourself be reorganized. Like return back to yourself. Be reorganized. Be hit and be reorganized. Because what is the alternative? Hiding, playing small, resenting being alive. Never, the part of you that is big and that is hungry, never having that fed at deep levels. So then you just try to feed it with food, movies, TV. You don't like life, resentful. You start to get brittle inside. So then everything becomes brittle. Your hair starts falling out. Your mood is funny. It is worth it to get out here and to get hit by life and to constantly remind yourself that you are here to play and go all in. It is worth getting hit. It is worth being slapped by life. It is worth being ignored. It is worth having your heart hurt. It is worth people judging you and calling you names. It is worth it. And then you learn to absorb it and you take it in and then remember why you're doing it. Remember that you're here for your people. Remember that true, indiscriminate love is not easy here on earth. This flowery Cinderella idea that we've been sold about love, out here in the full contact of life, where you're dealing with men and women who have had their hearts broken, whose parents didn't love them, who have been betrayed, who were innocent, like all of us once upon a time. For those of you who have children, remember how innocent children are. And who came in and violated their innocence over and over and over again? Who violated your innocence? Molestation, rape, parents who were unhealed and who harmed you. And then now here you are, 35, 45, 55, still walking around with hurt from 30 years ago, from 40 years ago. And then somebody is around who is wanting to love. And you're like, you're skeptical of the love. You're judging it. You're sabotaging it because you forgot the true innocence of the level of play that exists in true love. Man, when you can, it is worth it. It is worth it. Can you feel that? Can you see that? Especially when you look at the end of your life and go to the end and play it back. And like, what is my life going to look like if I stay inside of being petrified, like somebody said? If I stay inside of waiting, if I stay inside of, I don't want to expand my perimeter, I'm going to stay. And you go to 75 and bring it back to now, and you look at what your life is going to look like versus coming out here into the full contact of life and being deliberate about connecting with people who are sincere, connecting with women like me. Like being like, I'm going to be in a relationship with Naima. Like, I'm going to be in a relationship with Naima. Like, I want to come home to who I am in relationship with women like Naima. I want to return to true love. I want my whole existence for my limited time here on earth, for my limited time left. Because do you expect to be here for at least 2 more decades? Raise your hand if you expect to be on earth for at least 2 more decades. At least 20 more years. Raise your hand. You expect to be here at least 2 more decades, yes? And when you think about the last 20 years of your life, right? And how much has happened in the last 20 years of your life? Just real quick, think about what has happened in the last 20 years of your life. The last 20 years, have you given birth to children? Did you move to another house or apartment or city or country? Did you break up with somebody? Did a parent die or a loved one died? Did you travel? Did you finish a degree or a certification? In the last 20 years, right? So much has happened. And how much time have you wasted in the last 20 years? Just for a moment, think about that. Anybody want to share what their experience has been like over the last 20 years? Exactly. Have you, anybody here other than Carolyn, have you done any of those in the last 20 years or anything else? Or how much time, like how many of the last 20 years have you wasted? I want to hear from y'all. How many of the last 20 years have you wasted? Somebody said 8. Six years. Oh, that's so sweet. So a lot has happened in the last 20 years, right? A lot. So if you expect to be here for 20 more years, if you expect to be here 20 more years, especially considering how many of the last 20 years were planned, much of what happened in the last 20 years, did you plan it? And if you were planning the next 20 years, what would you plan for? We know that you plan shit and you never know what's going to happen, but how much of the next 20 years are planned? Do you plan to move to another country? Do you plan to have a hot body? Like a real plan. Do you plan to monetize your knowledge? Meaning, have you hired someone? Do you have a marketing strategy in place? Are you reorganizing a current marketing strategy? And who do you plan to be in all of this? Alive inside and out. For those of you who said, I wasted 8 years, 6 years, 3 years, would you like to waste 8 more? And maybe you do. That is not a trick question. The truth is, some of y'all do want to waste 8 more years, right? Some of you are willing to waste your life. You're willing because your fear is bigger, because you haven't waken up anything in you that has enough energy and electricity that can move you beyond fear. In order for you to touch what in you, and even to be affected by, right? Like, because it's going to come from inside or something external is going to penetrate to open you up. In order for it to come from external, you need to be receptive for something external to come in and penetrate you to reach the thing, unless you're going to activate it yourself, that has enough electricity and power for you to take action. And because so much of us is repressed, this is why I'm saying, I want you to DM me for us to have a phone call, because for 5 women who sign up for Shadow Gold before Friday, I'm going to include 6 months of working with me. I'm going to include 6 months of working with me for those of you who sign up for Shadow Gold before Friday. We're going to be working on waking up your sex power. Please understand, Shadow Gold is a primal course. It's a primal course. I want to speak to what this person said here. I want to be alive inside and out. So I'm going to speak about that in just a moment. Shara said, Shara, I'm terrified of the greener grass in the context of moving. Let me ask you this, Shara. How good does it feel to be terrified? How comfortable? I want you to feel it right now. Open your legs. Can you feel your clitoris right now? Can you feel the entry to your vaginal walls? Right here, right now. Can you feel it? Bring your attention there if you can. Bring your attention there. And say that out loud right now. I'm terrified of the greener grass in the context of moving. And feel it. How does it feel? Does it feel good? You got to go deep into this. Feel it. If any of you here struggle with feeling, you struggle with feeling down here, neck down, and your habit, your pattern is you feel, but then you go up here because you're like so linear and logical. You ignore this, all this knowledge, all this power, all this intelligence, you ignore it. Whew! This vortex down here, nope, I'm gonna go up here. Because the men say, be logical. So I'm standing here. All this wisdom down here, all this knowledge down here, no, we push that down, ignore that. Okay, so right now I'm talking to the women who struggle with this. Carolyn, you have been around too long to be asking me these questions, Carolyn. Too long. You know about all the products I'll offer. You have been here so many times. You don't want it, sweetheart. You love sitting like this, watching me live and drinking. You like feeling me live right here and nothing more. This is your behavior is showing me this, regardless of what comes out of your mouth. I've given you solutions. I've answered questions so many times. And if you can't remember, there's another sign of you don't want it. So before I go on, I want to bring back to the front here what I said earlier about your ancestral memory, the Malleus Maleficarum, and all the efforts that have been, laws that have been created, and all the efforts for centuries to get all of us today to be afraid, to ignore this, to have all of us hide, play small. We are children of all this, okay? This whole kind of thing about I feel some kind of way, right? Or I'm petrified. I'm terrified. You're just in line. I mean, that's basically the story of woman for centuries. That's nothing new. All of us who care about getting free have to do this work that I'm talking about. Otherwise, you're going to join all the clan of the chicks on TikTok who just want to eat and just do all the basic things that risk nothing. There's no real power in it. And we all know this, regardless of how much we try to act like we don't. You know exactly what to do to go live a normal life and not risk anything, not shake the boat, not feel like you're threatening. You know everything to go do. It's no secret. It's not hard. There's plenty of videos on the internet about how to get a provider man, how to be married, it's all there. But power for a woman, the kind of power that we love to read about deities having and goddesses having, that's in us, but we don't dare actually live that out in the world. We just love to sort of sit at the shrine and, meditate and pray. But the actual embodiment of that goddess, like Shakti, we just like to Shakti, yeah, because I'm Kali and I'm no, not really. Here's the thing. When you do this work that I'm inviting you all to do by working with me, no woman does this in a vacuum. So for those of you who think you're gonna, especially for those of you who already been doing your healing work for the last 20 fucking years, healing work and your transformation work for 20 years. And right, we've all done that. We've all done that. Like I did that for a long time, right? Heal alone, transform alone, travel alone, do all day alone. The Shakti power that women love to talk about on the internet, or we sort of love to like masturbate. Ooh, reading Women with the Wolves, and I got chills. But there's no real embodiment that would have men bowing, serving, that would have you commanding so much attention and resources and doing the work of your real heart, right? You're talking about, I'm going to serve millions of women. Are you prepared for the attack that comes with serving millions of women? Are you prepared for the judgment? Are you prepared for rape threats, death threats? Are you tapped into your heart at that level? Because this is what I'm talking about ultimately. It's not a sounding nice. This is, but this is what I mean by a sound, like you don't even feel what I'm talking about. Like if you were really with this, what I was talking about, that wouldn't come out your mouth. Or maybe you are with it and it scares you, so you're throwing up that about, oh, sounds nice. It sounds nice. Are you prepared to have your life on the line, to be in the power that you know that you are? Because that's what it is. You're risking it all. But most women are not going to risk it all. They want to go, go get a husband and get something to eat. That's why I said at the beginning of this live stream that this is here for women who want power and that most women don't want power. So for those of you who just came in the last 10 minutes, I said that over 45 minutes ago. Most women don't want real power. So this is not for probably 90% of y'all, maybe 98% of y'all. Real power is a threat to the status quo. We are very lucky to be alive today where the world actually wants our power. Yes, there are plenty of people who don't want it. I had a man show up to my inbox on TikTok the other day threatening rape. Yes, there are people who will have disdain for you. There are people who will not like you vehemently. There are people who will take the knowledge they have and use that to paint you as the enemy, as the devil, as the problem. You will have smart, wise men and women who have refused their full power, who will bring that to you. This is what I mean by being willing to get hit and absorb it so that it reorients you and brings you bigger into the power for you to do your thing. And your thing is being a woman in the world. Whether you are coaching, healing, or not, being a woman in the world. Thank you. So if you would like to refine your power, come into your shadow self and bring forth everything that's in you that's taboo and really work it, purify it, and you'd like to work with me for 6 months, when you buy Shadow Gold before Friday, I'm going to give 6 months of guidance with me when you sign up for Shadow Gold before Friday. Okay? So to work with me for 6 months can range anywhere from 15,000 plus, depending on the nature of how we're working together. I repeat, to work with me for 6 months starts at about 15,000, depending on what we're doing, and goes up. What I'm saying is, when you buy Shadow Gold before Friday, I'm giving you this 6 months of working with me to work specifically on what it is that I'm talking about now. Your full power, your taboo self, bringing up the woman in you so you can have, do, and be. All the money, all the travel, all the presence in the world, expanding your perimeter, taking up space, reconciling all the fears you have about persecution, judgment, being abandoned, being raped, being harmed. I'm telling you, as I said the other day, I know it's counterintuitive, but when you really come into this power, service shows up, clients show up, men bow, they want to help, and it is such a responsibility. It is such a responsibility. So if you're ready for the power and the responsibility that comes with that power, if you're ready to illuminate truly, if you're ready to purify who you truly are, okay, and you're willing to take it all in and absorb it so that then you can wield your power in a clean way versus being reactive, versus being repressed and hiding and playing small, versus trying to fake power or force power, versus waiting for somebody to save you or for somebody else to do it, versus being in apathy. That's a big one. Being in all the apathy of, well, earth is trash anyway, and whatever, and all of the story making. You know, I don't want to deal with my power, so I'm going to choose this smaller thing. So you don't have to do that anymore. And yes, I know this is a big girl decision. Yes, I know. Those who are ready. So you can DM me. I'd love to have a phone call with you. I'd love it if you are sincere about this. If you know Shadow Gold is for you. If you know I'm the one to help you, DM me. Let's have a call. If you have doubt, it's not for you, most likely. Okay? So really trust what you know. That's part of being a woman. Actually trusting what you know and moving on it. Okay? All right, let me come to these comments. I experienced that the other night at work. Yep. So if you want to connect here, please have a profile photo. Thank you for following the goddess. And how do I say your name? Aesus. How do I pronounce that? Asus, like Jesus. So Shara, are you really tired of dimming your light, or do you love dimming your light? You love it because it's safer. It's like, you know, that feeling. Oh, I remember your comments from earlier. I have a ritual. It's called the Pussy Ritual. I think it's $27 or $47. Yeah, it's $47. It's not in my bio, but if you want it, let me know. And essentially, it's an 8-page ritual, and it's to help women own all these things they keep saying they're tired of, they're sick of, they hate, and helping them really own it through their body, how much they actually love being sick and tired, how much they love playing small, how much they love being disrespected, how much they love hiding. They've just yet to admit it. Anybody have any questions? I'm about ready to wrap it up. I feel like there were several points that I started on and then they connected to something else and that could have been filled out even more. Also, I'm going to be hosting low-key house parties and co-ed gatherings for melanin dominant men and melanin dominant women in Houston, starting from the very end of September for 1 month every week. for 1 month, every week, starting at the very end of September. If you would like more information or to get on the list to be notified of updates and tickets, send me a DM with a request. Again, melanin dominant men, melanin dominant women who are of superior genetics and superior mind. Okay? I'm going to start hosting low-key house parties and gatherings. This is all about true love. So whether you want to date, whether you want a lover, whether you want a travel buddy, whether you want traditional marriage, but you want real connection with folks who also want real connection, it's going to be co-ed. I also need 2 men to help me, 2 melanin dominant men to help with the execution. So if you're a melanin dominant man here right now, quietly watching me and would like to be a part of this execution team, please DM me. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome, everybody. That is correct. All right. Y'all take good care of yourselves. The link in my bio, just so you know, if you want to see different options, the link is in my bio. Okay.